Just take a moment and let yourself move. Because we need some light. We need some joy right now. Move your bodies. Shake something. I mean, shake it. Shake it. Make circles with some part of your body. We need to shake it up. I don't know about you, but all the election stress has gotten me down and I need to move my body. Move with me for just another 10 seconds or so. Bust some kind of move, friends. We need this right now. Give yourself a little joy in your heart. Give yourself a little reassurance in your belly. And that's where we're going to end that. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. This is a segment where we make sure to take all the questions you've been giving us over the last, several weeks. We've had a great turnout, about 50 new members in the last 3-4 weeks that joined us for the Calm Parent Strategy, joined us to be a part of this tribe, this group, this, cohort, this affinity group of parents who want to learn more about how to raise the resilience of their own emotional being, and as well as share that with their children. So here we are. Ask Me Anything is one of my favorite parts of being together in this group because it gives us an opportunity to feel less alone, to feel heard, to know that there's somebody, at least one person out there, it's me today, and the others listening to this who are paying attention and noticing what it is that you're up against right now. And trust me when I say I get it. I've been in the sea of 24 children all wanting my attention at the same time. I've been there where, really it's almost like there's nothing left, right? You're just running on fumes. I've been in those moments where you're trying to, where I'm trying to figure out how am I going to motivate this kid to, follow the rules and pitch in with chores and, just emotionally become more resilient and self-regulated, right? So I'm with you. Same team here. We're together in this. And so are the other folks who are drawn to a space like this. So if you haven't yet said hello on the welcome post, go find a welcome post, say hello. If you haven't introduced yourself yet there, let us know who you are, where you're tuning in from. What are your go-to ways to connect with your kids? If you're not in the group yet, go to join group. All you have to do is click on the Raising Our Resilience name at the top of this post and go ahead and click on join group and come on over and join us. We have had a robust series of 7 ways to survive the back to school season. And this is sort of our wrap up right now. We've done things like we've talked about how to motivate our kids with less punishment and rewards, how to run our routines more smoothly, how to set limits that stick and really establish healthy boundaries for our kids. We talked about how to navigate big emotions and become really good lid detectors, we call them. All kinds of skills and tools are right now, those videos are in the group. You just need to look at the announcements and you can have a little mini training, a little 7-step mini training for yourself of the seven survival skills. And it's based on this framework called the 7 pillars of raising a resilient child. And I've developed that because I know that there are certain areas that are just not that intuitive. Even smart, well-educated, dedicated, big-hearted, amazing parents and people like yourselves get stumped, right? There are things that are confusing about raising young kids, especially if you have a child who's on the spicy side, a little more strong-willed, quick to, we call it hot, quick lid kids, where their lid flips easily. They get into meltdowns and tantrums easily. Perhaps you have a dynamic with 1 or 2 of your kids where there are power struggles. This is where the 7 pillars really matter. And so whenever I have an Ask Me Anything segment, I'm always looking at what are you needing support with? How can I help? And how does it connect back to one of these pillars? And I believe in these pillars so much that I've created this beautiful year-long immersion program where parents can study with me for an entire year, just like any certification program or kind of academy, but it's for those parenting skills that I've noticed parents will have the least sort of experience with or have had the most struggle with. And when they make those changes to the routine, to the limits they set, to the way they handle conflict, oh my gosh, it's amazing what happens. So I'm just excited to be here and share this with you. And some of the questions, which you might be able to see in the poster if you're just watching the video, maybe you haven't seen them yet, are things like, how do I manage a child with lots of energy? How do I calm him down? How do I help my child deal with overwhelming emotions? Yeah, really good one. How can I get my family on the same page so that we're all working towards the same thing, right? How do we like basically say, hey, we're like, you know, trying to create a family here together, that where we're going to be, you know, approaching things in a similar way so that we can, you know, really support each other and not feel so kind of on our own with things. Yeah. How can I tell if my child is having normal toddler behavior or is really like kind of an outlier? Things are kind of going a little further than they really should, and I need to maybe get some additional support. All really good questions that have come up, and I'm putting in the group. I'm tagging some folks right now whose questions I am going to be directly answering, and I will be even, you know, bringing up your name so you know when your turn is, that sort of thing. And these are also new members, so welcome. So glad you're here. So glad you've chosen to spend time with us here in the Raising Resilience group, with other parents like you who really want to build their toolboxes in a way that's shame-free, really supportive, and, you know, you get to be part of a community as you learn. So let's start with, let's see here. We've got, oh wow, okay, so several folks who were also at the 6-day training are also up for having their questions answered. So that's exciting. Questions like, how do I manage power struggles better and get my child to follow directions and like actually go to bed? And in this virtual learning situation, how do I help my child like get engaged in learning right now with everything, all the distractions and stress, right? So all really good questions, and we're going to be addressing them today. All right, so starting from the top, I've got Elise here. Elise says that she has a child with lots of energy, especially when he sees friends. And like, how do I calm him down, right? Yeah, so like, how do I calm down my child? And Elise, you did a smart thing and you came to our 6-day training here, our free 6-day training, and you got 6 tools to be able to actually share and to use and to share. Breathing tools, somatic tools, you know, ways that you can coach through emotions. And so one of the things that I always recommend, I'll just go right for the somatic tool right now, because we are being so cautious and we're staying indoors so much and we're not getting that daily like recess with kids, aren't getting that daily recess with friends. We need to make sure we are building in really robust physical exercise for our children on a daily, whether that's going on a bike ride or building an obstacle course at home, having a jump on the couch dance party, if that's what you need to do. Something that gets the heart rate going and it really uses those big muscles. We call them gross motor movement, right? That way they have a chance to like take any tension that's built up and any pent up energy and really express it. That's really important. Another is that sometimes kids are tipped off their sort of calm, their center, when something happens and it's really unexpected, which is so natural, right? When you're surprised, you go like, oh, right? And then your whole nervous system goes, whoa! And so perhaps when it comes to seeing friends, you were mentioning, Elise, making sure that they have like what we call the anticipatory set, like, and help them anticipate what's coming up, what they can expect, so that when he sees his friend, he kind of is reminded of like what is possible and what's not possible. Like, maybe it's not possible for him to scream and run around the room, you know, but what is possible is for him to go, hi, you know, help him to sort of preview what is expected, what is in bounds, what's out of bounds, what's going to happen, so he's less surprised. And again, give him a way to an outlet for that energy. Hi, Rachel. Good to have you here. Yeah. I'm glad you've got a big old yes and a heart for me for what we're saying here. It's so helpful. And you as a somatic educator know, Rachel, how important it is to really embody and be in the body and have that access to energy releasing exercise. I have Heidi here, Heidi Norman Lindsay. She's saying, you know, one of the things that she's facing right now is having this experience with overwhelming emotion. Yeah. So when we think of overwhelming emotion, we're thinking about flooding, right? So it's a term that we use in psychology. And it's when the nervous system has been overwhelmed to the point of not being able to cope very well or regulate very well, and generally needs between 15 and 20 minutes to recover. When that happens, you know, one of the things that we need to do is really identify, and we talked about this, by the way, you should come into the group and check out the, I think it was the first survival skill around becoming a good lid detector, is being able to like sense like how far gone is my child? How far am I upset? In other words, however far away you are from your like kind of baseline calm is how much support you're going to need and time in order to recover. And it's also when you've passed a certain threshold, you're no longer able to access your good executive functioning skills. And so you've seen this with kids. They'll start repeating themselves over and over again, or they'll scream instead of speak. They'll even lose control of their body. For some of the older kids who may not be tantruming as big and loud, it could be just, you know, saying really awful things about you or about themselves or about their friends or about their teacher, whatever, like grumble, right? You can just feel it, that tension or that intensity, crying and like having the kind of breathing pattern. Anything that's showing that they're just not in the right mind and they're really having to move through an emotion is a great time to emotion coach and really be emotion focused in your support and actually sort of validate their emotional experience. Because I'll tell you one huge pro tip is like, top tip, you can't really fight a feeling. Like if you try to get in a power struggle with an emotion, you'll lose, because guess what? Sad wants to be sad, angry wants to be angry, and hurt wants to be hurt, and they want to be expressed and need to be expressed and followed, like kind of moved through in order to come to back to a resting point of being able to say, oh, I just experienced anger. Oh, I just experienced sadness and hurt. So shifting to emotion coaching and addressing the emotion, it might sound something like, oh, sweetie, I see that you're really upset that you didn't get to, watch a second episode. Yeah, that can be hard. It can be really hard to not get what you want. I wonder if it would help for us to move our attention somewhere else. This is when you can make a suggestion of a calm down strategy. By the way, if you're not my group, you join my group and give me your email address. I'll send you my 6 calm strategies. So another great reason to join besides the excellent community. Rochelle wants to know about how to just get through, COVID time with no assistance. How many other folks are out there who are really doing a lot of this on their own, or if not all of it on their own, and they're just like finding that it's not sustainable? If that's you, please say, I hear you, Rochelle, in the, in the comments, because it's just so much to take care of, right? And what I've been saying since the beginning of COVID, and this is not normal, right? We are not going to be able to, keep up the same sort of standards that we did before COVID, when we had access to more childcare, and we had school, and nannies were easier to find, and or like play dates and all the things. Especially if you're on your own. I mean, there's several folks here who joined this month who are like, I am pretty much on my own with the kids most of the time, and I'm supposed to be running my household or finding a job or working all at once. And what I say is, because our capacity is limited, right? Like, let's say we have like 100 bars of energy for the day and time, right? We'll put those two things together, energy and time. And we used to have some reprieve where like 50 of those would be sort of taken care of by school or by childcare, and maybe 10 of those were like a weekly help of some kind around the house, or maybe your friend will come over while you do chores and it helps, right? Right now, if we're having to like allocate all 100 bars to like more than 2 or 3 roles all at once, we're going to be performing at a lower level, And so there's a lot of what I'm finding is effective in these last 6 to 8 months is practicing a lot of self-compassion and forgiveness, and managing your expectations for how much you can get done in a day, how clean your house is going to be, like, and how regularly, how many classes your child's going to be able to attend virtually, and for how long they're going to be able to sit, how many meetings you're going to be able to attend in a day. I would love for you to take it down. Like, if your regular expectation is 100, bring it down to 70, 60, even 50%. Okay. And really give yourself some space to discover, like, right now, what is your minimum sort of level of like maintaining life that you can handle right now. That's the first thing. Okay. Lowering those expectations, managing them to finding out what your basic level is, and cruising at that level. Number one. Number two, you have to build in calming strategies and stress relief for yourself. You cannot just go, push. And many of you are noticing this, like maybe you're now having chronic insomnia or body pains, or maybe you're finding yourself really feeling defeated or giving up. These are all symptoms of burnout, friends, okay? Maybe you're even having some physical ailments, like a chronic pain or stress. You need to build in rest for yourself, and it can be in small doses, 5 to 20 minutes, several times a day. And that's what I mean. Like, if you're like, if I don't get everything done right now, then everything's going to fall apart. If you're in that mode all the time, you're going to run yourself down. So take advantage of what we know about the law of diminished returns, for example. At a certain point, you're not going to get back what you put in if you push yourself too far without rest. So you'll actually get more done if you do like an hour and a half and then take a half hour off, do an hour and a half, take a half hour off, and run your day like that, than if you just work continuously through that whole time. You'll actually get more done, because with that recover period, you get to, like, first of all, become a little smarter about what you're going to do next, reprioritize, get organized, maybe even reach out for help. Maybe realize what can wait for tomorrow. Maybe come up with a way to multitask if you need to, like, oh, I'm not going to run 3 separate errands. I'm going to package them all up and I can wait till tomorrow. I'll do them all when I have that appointment, right? And get it all done. In those 30 minutes, like when you stop to take a shower, take a walk, just take a little like rest with your hands in your, with your hands covering your eyes and just letting yourself have a moment. Doing the breathing, the body tools, the reframing tools that we practiced last month, you will get back energy. So it's a little bit of a contradiction where taking time away from the things you want to get done is going to help you get them done, but it's so true. I know this to be true. It's something that I've seen the difference in my own life, especially when I was teaching full time and raising my kids, have a lot of that overwhelmed feeling. Another thing that has come up is just, how do we manage mood in general? And I'm starting to touch on that, like Adele, I think it's Adele or Adele. You were asking about, mood management, as well as, let's see who else. Caroline was here for the 6-day training and was actually a grand prize winner. So she's going to be with me all of January as well for our emotional mastery weekend and the first month of the immersion. And, they all were, both of them were looking for mood management help. Same with Laura Lucio Villarreal, I believe is how you say your name. I hope you can correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you. You all are interested in learning more about mood management. And so I've already gone over 1 or 2 tips, like, becoming a good lid detector and, really coaching through the emotions when the emotions are more in control than your thinking brain is so, so key. and starting to notice what your tells are, like what signs do you have, come up that really show that you are not actually managing your mood very well, and try to catch the early signs. So I know for me, for example, like I will start to slump in my chair when I'm working. I'll start to kind of slump. I'll actually like look at my face to see if if I've got like a line here from squinting and frowning and trying, like pushing too hard. Other things I'll notice is that I'll get like some like random sort of munchies, like where I just really want to eat a lot, and salty, sweet, and fat foods, like that's a sign of mine. So I'm curious for you, and I'm putting a bunch of names here. What are your warning signs that you are that your mood is dipping, and we call that like lid, your lid is kind of coming off in my program, and that's referring to the brain in the palm of the hand, which is another thing I share. But I want to know what your warning signs are for when your mood is dropping. Yeah, I mean, I've also got Letitia asking about that, Godfrey Alpica, Megan Schinkel. I mean, this is something that you all like. Brandy Blau. So many people are interested in this. Anna Robinson, Kimberly Flores. I mean, really, like there's so much here. What are some of the ways that you can kind of catch it early? And for those of you who are listening right now, I've got 2 folks over on Facebook, in the Facebook group. And if you're listening to this recording, go ahead and type it in the comments. Like, I want to know, like, what's one of your tells that really shows that you are starting to lose your cool? Okay. How do we know? How can you tell for yourself? Some of you start to feel hot in the face when you start getting frustrated. That's a really good one to pay attention to. You might notice that you have tension in your body, like in your shoulders, or maybe you're noticing it somewhere else in the pit of your stomach. Some people have like a sinking feeling. Some people will feel almost like a state of panic, like, oh no, 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 like that kind of feeling. Here we go again. She's about to blow. She's about to lose her cool. And now I can see it coming, right? What is it for you? What do you feel in your body? One of the like this really smart meditation teacher that I follow, she always recommended, hey, when's the last time you just kind of tuned into your body and hung out with it? Even just a 2-minute check-in to just say, how am I doing? Can be the way to start to notice these early warning signs. Because if we're ignoring our bodies and letting our minds sort of just rule, what can happen is we can start to override the early signs and push through them in a way that leaves us kind of in the dark about and missing an opportunity that we could actually manage our stress before it gets the best of us. Yeah. Okay, so I've got 3 people watching here. If you're watching in the Facebook group, go ahead and write in the comments, what you notice like happening in your body. Yeah, that indicates like, wow, I'm really not managing my mood well. So I'm going to go ahead and tag a few more people while you do that. Mm-hmm. And what ends up happening next is that when you become really good at finding your own tells of, dysregulation, you're also going to become like almost like a little antenna, a little sensor, a little detector of your child's moods, and being able to really sense when they're starting to dysregulate. And sometimes, it's hunger or thirst or overwhelm or overheating or tiredness. It's not actually like it's more of a physiological state that is causing the mood. Other times they're looking for attention, they're seeking attention, they're looking for more power, they're seeking revenge because they're already hurt by something that happened prior that hasn't been resolved yet. Those things could be happening. But what we end up doing is, if we can see the warning signs, we can do something about it earlier, and we can tune in with them sooner so that they can have the opportunity to regulate when they still have quite a bit of power to be able to do something about it. They're not so far gone into full meltdown or tantrum or full like power struggle showdown, right? So helping with that. Another thing that can really help is, getting really clear about your limits. And the reason why limits and mood management go together is because oftentimes when we have tension in the family and in the household, it's because we're not on the same page about what's allowed and what's not allowed, what's in bounds and what's out of bounds. Yeah. This can even happen between caregivers. I see it all the time in my practice. I have so many parents coming to me, checking off that box saying like, getting on the same page as a family with other caregivers. I'd really like some help with that. So part of setting limits effectively, and again, there's a whole swath of people who are interested in this, so I'm also going to, go ahead and tag in this post so you can find this part, is that, one of the things that a lot of people have said is that, I think I know what I want, but it's just really hard to express it. A lot of times it's almost like this, could even be sort of an unspoken expectation of like how, like this kind of general thing of like how to behave right at the table, for example. That's a really good example. A lot of us have how to behave right. Yeah. Or how to behave right in the store. And we might even say to our kids, like, you know how to behave, you know how to be good. Right. And sometimes it's true. They really do. And they're just being a stinker about it. And or like, trying to maybe make a little power play with you. But other times, we can, and this is something I go over in my setting limits module in my immersion, my year-long immersion. We can overestimate what kids really understand about the limits and how to follow them. And we can underestimate how much they can really do on their own once they've been given, enough instruction and guidance. So here's an example. I used to think that kids needed constant supervision or they would absolutely break the rules. Like there's no way I could step away and the kids would stick to our agreements. I used to think that, right? And I would just be kind of on edge, almost anxious, like having to keep my eye on my kids. And I'm talking about my own children and the like 24, 36 or 48 kids that I had, like could never turn my back on the room. Not a great lifestyle, very stressful, right? If any of you can relate, yeah, let me know. So what ended up happening was that I realized that if I can get really crystal clear about what the limits are and be incredibly concrete and specific, especially if there are multiple expectations in play, and I even take the time to show my child, like show them, role model it, and even practice it with my kid and with my students. Oh my gosh, it saved me so much time in the end. Like instead of giving 100 reminders, I could show really clearly 3 to 10 times. And then there's no doubt in either my mind or the child's mind what the expectation is, how to do it. And I know with 100% certainty that it's fair to follow through on that limit because they've had a clear explanation. They've had a chance to practice and demonstrate that they understand. And like we've gone over it several times. So now when it comes to setting a limit in the moment, I can feel really confident. Like the difference between like, oh, should I intervene or not? How is it really fair? Or like, I don't even know what the limit is, but this is wrong. Like those feelings, I've been there, right? Let me know if you've been there. You're making it up on the fly, which we just have to do. What I want you to do is take a note of that and say, this is something that I actually need to have a little sit down with my kid and explain it to them and even show them. And maybe we can even role play so that they can get practice with this expectation before I sort of release them to the, to the free range life again, to see how that stuck with them. I would find myself reminding kids of the same thing over and over again. How many of you repeat yourself? I would love to know right now. Put in the comments. I've got 3 or 4 folks listening right now. What is something that you find yourself repeating over and over again to your kids right now? that you would just love for them to get on board with. And it's just not a limit that's sticking. Yeah. I've got John and Dana, Anusha, Ashley, Dwaynia, and Gayla, who's here, all wanting some help with setting limits this month. And so I've put you there. I'm going to use some of your examples as I'm waiting for some of them to come in. And Gayla, good job really noticing what are some of your tells that your own lid is coming off, that you are starting to get dysregulated. Really good. Feeling tense in your neck and back, looking for snacks, that feeling of, uh-oh, here we go, or sighing. Yeah, all really good signs that perhaps you need your own little recess or timeout. Time in, right? To be a more resourced parent, so you can have a calmer nervous system. Maybe you need that 5 minutes. Maybe you need to take 3-4 square breaths. Maybe you need to do 5 tense and releases. Yeah, so that you can do that. But back to the setting limits. So one of them is trying to keep your child off devices. Desiree, I hear you. Yeah, and you also were looking at the mood management. I'm guessing that keeping your child occupied, off devices, and also, regulating mood kind of all goes together. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'm so curious, Desiree. Another one that someone brought up was just like, man, being alone or letting them take the time it takes to do things instead of snapping because you lose patience. So wanting kids to like hurry up when they need to hurry up, like get that hustle and the bustle, so to speak, right? Time to get out the door. Anusha's having, lots of meltdowns where there's a lot of out of bounds behavior going on. Dana's having some hitting behavior she's trying to work with. Yeah, absolutely. Constantly questioning what they're doing and only letting you help, Farah, as their mom. Yeah. Ooh. Kaya just trying to get kids on a schedule and maybe not being able to like have them get on it with you. These are all like, if you heard one that you can relate to, please, say something here. Really good, really good here. Yes, excellent. Now Gayla's here with us saying getting in the car without having to ask over and over when it's time to leave. Yes. Oh, wouldn't that be nice, Gayla, if you could ask once or twice at the most, and you win your child's cooperation, like they're on board, they're ready to get in the car. Yeah. So here's what I would suggest, Gayla, and remind me of how old your child is, okay, or children, please. Since you're here with me live, I can give you some coaching. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, you told me almost 4. Okay, got it. So you're almost 4-year-old getting in the car. This 4 is a great age to do the role play, like really like go through the steps when it's not time to do it. So do it during a time where it's not important that you get in the car on time and it's not time to leave. You're just like basically having a little bit of a play through, okay, role play. Yeah, got it, Gayla, almost 4. So, and what you're gonna wanna do is break it down into really clear steps, Gayla, okay? So what are some things that need to happen for her to get into the car? Does she need to, do one last thing, like go to the bathroom? Does she need to put on her shoes or her jacket? You're in some cold weather, right? Is there something, and also I would add, is there some way you can give her a bit of autonomy in that where she can have a few choices, like choose what shoes she puts on, choose whether she's gonna help with locking the door, turning the key, or if she's gonna click the clicker today to, unlock the car. Giving her some choices and some important little jobs is a great way to sort of enroll the kids in what's happening and involve them so they don't just feel dragged or pushed into, the thing. Giving her something to look forward to in the car is always helpful that she can choose. Like maybe she gets to choose the first song you listen to. Letting her choose if she's going to put her seatbelt on before or if you're going to help her. So that's building in some motivation hacks there with the limit and breaking it down into clear steps and being really concrete about what you want. If she stalls at one spot in that little mini routine, you're going to want to put attention on that and make an agreement and say, sweetie, once our feet are outside the door, we're walking straight to the car. No stops. No stops. And you can say, car and sandbox and, you know, swing or something on the way to the car. And that'll be our list of things we're going to do when we get home. But we're going to do feet. Once the feet are out the door, feet go straight down the walkway, straight to the car. No stops. Got it? Yeah, got it. Okay, now let's practice. So maybe it's just, there's like this one little micro routine that you need to identify and make really clear and practice so that it goes smoothly. And you want to give high fives and praise and like, yeah, we did it. You can even make it fun and turn it into a game and say, oh, that took 5 seconds. I wonder if we can do it in 4 seconds next time, right? You can, like, again, give them a little job while they're doing it of like, if you go straight to the car with no stops, then you can click the clicker. Yeah. So just something that kind of makes it streamlined. Yeah. Another thing you can do is if they get really distracted, is to have their mind on something else, like sing a song, right? So they're singing along with you as they're kind of walking along. Kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been on a treadmill or in a workout class, and if there was no music and no one around, you probably would work out like half as much. But when there's music or there's like good class going, like the time flies. So if you can bring that energy into it a bit, sometimes that helps too. Gila, which of these ideas do you want to try? Do you want to break it down into smaller steps? Do you want to give more choices? Do you want to make a little mini routine for the hardest part? Let me know. Okay, put it in the comments, and that way we can cheer you on and I can support you further. So put that first, and then I have a follow-up question. Let's see. So which of these can we talk about next? Well, there's one in here that was a little different, which I thought was super interesting. Shauna Lynn was saying, you know, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy during the holidays, weekends, and figuring out activities that don't involve large gatherings. I would love, Shauna Lynn, I would love for us to actually create a whole post. I'm just going to say, let's create a post out of your question, because I would love for folks to chime in on this, right? Because, you know, being able to figure out activities that don't involve large gatherings can be really hard, right? And I wonder if there's even some folks right now who are listening who could throw some ideas into the comments. So the themes I've been seeing are ways of celebrating that kids can look forward to, especially for things like graduation or a birthday or a holiday. I mean, Halloween was a great example. And we have some more holidays coming up, right? So letting them organize a group distance game, which can be really interesting. So if the older they are, the more that they can be the organizer, and the younger they are, they can be a participant. Things like a scavenger hunt, where they can like plan the scavenger hunt, and then their friends can come over and they can like find the things one at a time, you know, go through the whole sequence, that sort of thing, and sanitize before and after. Things that are kind of clever like that, kids can get really into because it's a project and it's like something that they get to like share an experience with other people or create an experience for others. That could be an idea. So scavenger hunts. And then another one that I've seen is like drive-by celebrations, right? Where there's somebody who's sitting out in the, like for graduation, who's sitting out in the front lawn in their chair, and they've got a festive outfit on, and there's like, you know, maybe they've got treats out front that are in grab bags, and their friends come by and they visit from, you know, 6 feet away with masks on, and get honk their horn, and like they get to maybe add a little note to a tree, like, and tie it on a tree right on the front, you know, on the sidewalk, so that they don't have to like necessarily come in the house or yard, and have like basically an open house for like 2 to 3 hours, and just have like a parade of people go by. That can be really cool, and it's really helpful, by the way, to have people commit to a certain time slot. That's a really big one. Let's see, drive-by party. Or scavenger hunt. I'm going to put that in notes. I wonder if there's anybody else who has ideas who could just throw it into the chat too. And Gail is saying, I really want to try the mini routine once our feet outside that we go straight to the car with no stops. Ah, I nailed it. I had a thought that would be it. Great. And you can name all the things that you can do when you return home, and practicing that. Yes, excellent. And the choices. Great. I love it, Gayla. I hope that you could come back to this post and let us know how it goes, okay? So try it in the next 48 hours. Like do it this afternoon, like do the practice this afternoon, and then maybe get them out and about tomorrow to go in the car, and let us know how that goes, would you, please? And you're noticing the wisdom of what Gail is doing. Like this is what I do in my trainings all the time with my immersion. You know, I'm having you write it out and put it in the comments, because I know a lot about learning, right? I'm a learning specialist. It's my master's in education, and I've taught so many adults and kids now, hundreds of families, that when you write it out, a plan, it's going to really help. Now, Gayla, part 2 of my question is, what could get in the way? What's an obstacle that you might be facing that might make it difficult for you to be able to do that practice run or get him on board? Can you think of anything? Does anything come to mind? You're like, oh, this might not work because, throw it in the comments, and I'd love to help support you with that. All right. We are going to round up and round down here with our last questions, okay? Okay, so let me just make sure I've got the ones. All right. How can I increase my patience and support my daughter in experiencing more positive emotions? Well, first of all, I want to know more about supporting your child with their negative emotions, because it sounds like they are taking over their affect. Yeah. And so I'm so curious about what it is that they're experiencing. And also wondering about how, like what are some things that light up your child? And could you do more of that? Could you have more of those sort of heart light, exciting, you know, things that sort of bring up their joy or their gratitude? For example, you know, a lot of my research was in gratitude. Kids can often feel right now very isolated. And so helping them get reconnected with the people in their lives, friends, family, you know, family, friends, folks, you know, folks that care about them, help them to reconnect with the good things that these people have done for them in their lives, so that they can remember and feel the love and support that they have in their lives. That brings up a ton of positive emotions. I went over this in the last training in the 7 survival skills. You might want to hop over and check that one out if this pertains to you. About telling gratitude stories, about stories of times that people that love your child and support your child have supported them and really helped to kind of evoke that grateful feeling, giving them that opportunity. So it could sound something like, you know, I noticed that your big brother, when it was time to split up the Halloween candy, gave you more of the Sour Patch Kids because he knows you like them so much. Wasn't that nice? Yeah. I wonder why he did that. Maybe because he cares about you and, you know, thinks that you'll get some joy out of having your favorite candy. Did you notice that he had a smile on his face when he did that? Yeah. Seems like it was really lighting up his heart. Did it light yours up too? I wonder how it felt for you when you got all those extra Sour Patch Kids. Is there anything you want to do to let your big brother know how that felt? And that's often when the kids will say, I want to something, you know, some expression of like joy, kindness, love, or gratitude, appreciation. Sometimes we need to actually help kids notice the good and keep an eye out for the good. I mean, we created a whole curriculum for early childhood through the Greater Good Science Center Youth Gratitude Project at UC Berkeley. It was a grant that I was contributed to, where we actually have the kids put on their little goodness glasses, like this little monkey called See More Good, and he would go around and look for more good, which is copyrighted, by the way. But so he like go around and look for more good and try to figure out, you know, like, can I see the world through these goodness glasses and notice the good again? Sometimes even just changing things up at home about like what toys are in front of them, like they do get tired of it. Like even my dog, if I put 3 toys away and take 3 out, all of a sudden he's like, I want to play. Kids are similar, right? I've noticed that in the classroom. I would rotate materials all the time, and they would have like a newfound love for games and activities that they forgot about. So dusting off something and bringing it out into the light and putting some things away so they can kind of like miss them. And then when they come back in rotation, like, oh yeah, this is so good. So those are some ways to kind of lift some emotions, especially around gratitude. And in terms of like that sort of ennui or that sort of calm or that sort of peaceful feeling, you know, mindfulness really works. So just like tuning into the breath, noticing what all senses are feeling at this moment. What do you taste? What do you smell? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel with your fingertips? What do you feel inside your body? Those are kind of like two different touch senses, you know, like feeling senses. All of those can be really helpful to just help them kind of tune into something, you know, in their environment. And then if you take that mindfulness and you have them eat something delicious, like a really sweet, crunchy tart slice of apple, or listen to a beautiful sound like a bell, or their favorite song, then they encourage them to really just savor it, like enjoy it, just like for the sake of enjoying. There's no agenda. You're not necessarily trying to get your exercise or trying to learn the words to the song, or, you know, we can be very like, kid, keep learning and helping and working and stuff, just for pure enjoyment, just for the enjoyment of like opening your eyes and seeing the colors of the world, you know. So some ideas there. Let me see if there's one more that I want to make sure I get to. Oh, what is normal toddler behavior and how can I support him and help him thrive in the best way possible? So normal toddler behavior, that's a really interesting one. You know, I'm curious what is going on that is raising this question, right? So like, what is your toddler doing that is giving you this wonder? Generally, it can be really, really, really helpful for all of these things to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody who has information for you. Yeah. So, and that's what I do, right? So I offer this way that parents can take a quiz, and it's called a discovery quiz because it really goes back to the 7 pillars and helps you see what might be getting in the way, what might be helpful right now in terms of, you know, things like setting limits and establishing the routine and conflict resolution. When you take the quiz, you also have an opportunity to apply for a strategy session. And I'm going to be opening up that calendar real soon to add some more sessions. And what you do is you apply. And if you qualify, we can do a one-on-one and spend 20 to 30 minutes looking at your unique situation. And let's talk about your toddler. And let's find out together, like whether it's in the range of sort of developmentally normal, you know, like kind of that, I would always call it a range of development, or if there's something that is to be of concern that should be addressed sooner than later. And it's not just for toddlers, right? This is for all ages and stages. Yeah, take advantage of that. Like Gayla, who's been here today, other folks who are listening to the recording, I really encourage you to do it. It can be very revealing. The other thing that someone's asking here is, how do I actually get my child to follow directions and go to bed? Oh gosh, you know, kids are so good. They just know. They know where their power is, and we let them know. We show when we're in a power struggle with the kids. We give them a lot to push back on where they have power, and it usually has to do with their body. I'm not getting in that bath. I'm not putting that food in my mouth. I'm not letting this poop out. You know, I'm not going to bed. I'm going to stay up. Yeah, like it's so hard because we literally cannot make them. We can't make them eat something. We can't make them poop. We can't make them fall asleep. There are a lot of things we can do to help them. We can't make them. So if following directions and going to bed and power struggles is up for you, you're going to want to look at power. Where are they looking for power, and how can you give them more power in appropriate ways? Yeah. Like we were going over with Gayla's example of getting into the car when it's time to leave. Choices are huge. Autonomy, like building in some choices is where I'd start. Also giving them power over, you know, like other decisions and other areas so they can feel like they have enough power. Giving them a lot of heads up so that in the moment you're not just directing their traffic and managing them and telling them what to do all the time, right? So there's all these pieces that go together to help get out of power struggles. And I actually have several trainings on power struggles because they show up in so many different ways. Sometimes it's over the routine, sometimes it's over a limit, sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's because you've been in conflicts constantly and you haven't been able to resolve them properly. So they're just in this sort of like defensive revenge mode. There's a lot there. So if you are having any of these 3 things, consistent power struggles, where you just feel like kids are ignoring you and you have to strong arm them, or you get into fights a lot, if that's happening, or tantrums where the child is just losing it and like it's really unclear what to do. And the last one I would say is if you are having a hard time where you're like really stressed out by being a parent right now, take the quiz and get on my calendar for that session so I can support you, please. Okay, don't wait. It's a free resource that I offer to folks in right here in Raising Our Resilience or in my group. You're gonna want to take advantage of it, okay? Please, don't delay. Go ahead and do it. And I'll also send you a free guide on tips on how to emotion coach your kid in the moment, like how to coach them through their hard emotions. It actually has a script of like what to say and even what to do a bit. So no reason not to. Go ahead and take advantage of that, okay? All right, so that wraps up our Ask Me Anything. Hopefully you've been able to pull some things out of this. Do, for your own learning's sake and for the others who are listening and watching, put in the comments something that you learned today from this. One thing that stood out. Maybe it's offer more choices. Maybe it's involve them, you know, in the planning. Maybe it's practice it and do a role play like Gayla's going to do. Maybe it's a new idea you have about having your kids socialize that came out of that scavenger hunt and drive-by party idea. Something that stood out to you that you don't want to forget when you leave this Ask Me Anything training. And if you have more questions, put them in the comments so I can come back and I can type and jam with you and get you some support, or take the quiz so I can help you in person, okay? Just like this, we would meet kind of like this on Zoom, but we would actually have a chance to converse. I had about a dozen people take me up on this in this last month as part of the 6-day Calm Down training. And now 8 families are coming to our Raising Our Resilience Emotional Mastery Weekend, including several of you who are tagged. So, and a couple of you even won a month of mentorship. And who knows, maybe you will be in our next year-long cohort. You know, we have limited spots available for folks who are really motivated and it's a good fit. What you want to learn is what I teach, that you're really ready to, you know, to take a good look at what tools and strategies you need to build, and you're ready. Yeah, I would love to fold you in. We're going to have a great time starting in January. We're going to start our next cohort. In the meantime, we're going to have several trainings here that are going to get you through the holidays. Several things about gratitude tips and trainings. I have the author of the book Pause, which if you did my 6-day Calm training, you'll know that the power of the pause is so incredible. And she wrote a whole book about it. She's really smart. She did a whole TED talk about it. Rachel O'Meara, she will be with us next Monday. So you can tune in for that. And I'll be following up with some gratitude strategies and practices that help to curb entitlement before it starts and get us ready for this gift giving season, this Thanksgiving season, the time when we're going to need to reach deep maybe to find things to be thankful for in such a tricky and troublesome year. So stick with me for the rest of the year, and also take the quiz so you can find out if you qualify for a session, and we can see if it's a good fit for you to jump in immersion. And I'll see you over there. Okay. All right. Mondays at 2 p.m. we have these live trainings, and then the quiz is there, and there's several sessions that will be available over the next coming weeks. All right, bye for now. Lots of love to you all, big-hearted parents. I'm very impressed with you. We've got Caitlin and Joshua who've been tuning in on Zoom. So good to have you here, Caitlin and Josh. Would love to hear what you got out of this training, if you could put it in the comments. Caitlin was noticing that her heart beats faster and she talks faster. Those are some of her tells. Really good investigation, Caitlin. I wonder what some of your kids' tells are. I wonder what's up right now for you that might be holding you back from being able to move forward. If there's something that you'd like to, explore with me, I really recommend you go ahead and fill out the quiz. I'll put it in the Zoom link too, so you have it as well. And we can get jamming. I'd love to support you all. And so proud of each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy days to be here and to just keep filling up your toolbox and your resources. Again, if you have something that you got out of this training that you don't want to forget, it helps you to remember. It also helps me to get a sense of what you pulled out of it. If you just go ahead and type it into the chat here, in the Zoom chat or in the Facebook chat, okay? All right, you all, go forward with resilience, knowing you're not on your own with this. You've got me in your corner. You've got the other parents here. You've got, folks like Sharon who just commented, hey, Sharon, good to have you back from the 6th day and the master classes. saying things like, I'm going to offer kids a job to do on a trip. I'm going to share gratitude stories and just know that I can't argue against feelings. Sharon, way to pull out some gems today. Nice job. Caitlin and Josh hopefully did too, as well as Gayla. I can tell you have got a good plan to go for. Ooh, and Gayla, your obstacle, thank you, is that he thinks of one more thing he wants to see, do or play before you go, and it's hard for you to always say no. No, we need to go now. No, we need to go now, after he's had lots of notice and heads up that we have to go. Okay, so now instead of we have to go, you're going to take that sort of vague, accurate direction, and you're going to give him something to do, which is keep his feet moving so he doesn't stop, name the objects he sees that he wants to play with, and maybe even have a little job, right, that he is in charge of. Good, yes, okay. I think we address those obstacles. And way to go to like show up today and get involved. Caitlin says that she has a 4 and an 8-year-old, and the 8-year-old's been struggling emotionally, missing time with friends and family. Yeah, due to the pandemic. I hear you. Yes, you're not alone in that. I have so many of my smart clients who are going through the same thing with their 11 and 13 and 15-year-olds, or 12-year-old, or 8-year-old, or 6-year-olds, right? And it's hard. And the time on Zoom is tough. I'm glad you're going to fill out the quiz, Caitlin. Let's get you some individualized support. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it that way. All right, you all. Again, lots of love to all of you, and we'll see you next time. Okay, take good care.